two, one. All right. Good morning, good people. My name is Joshua Edwards. You know me from Shop Talk Quinny. And I was just talking to my wonderful guest here, who I'm going to introduce in a moment, about the purpose behind these podcasts is really just like the meaningful conversations and the fruit I feel comes out of them for not just the two people on the call, because I get a lot out of these. Believe me, so much value, but also for y'all who are listening. So I feel like it's a double entendre that way. And I'm super excited to welcome Nicole to the show. She is the owner of Modelle. Um, do
Hello.
you do the walk? Do the walk. I think about the runway. I think about living the best life. Like there's so many things that come to my mind. But welcome, Nicole, to the show.
Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be joining you today.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in.
Yes.
So for the people that first of all, I want to make, I want people to get to know you a little bit more, where you're from, uh, what brought you to what you're doing now, and what is it that you're doing now. So why don't we spend the first 1, 2, 3 minutes just talking about that.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Nicole Voskamp. I am the owner of Modelle, Model and Talent Agency in Belleville, and then also Casey Closet Fashion Boutique in Bloomfield. So it's a women and children's clothing and accessory store. I guess how I kind of got here. So I actually have been a part of Modelle since I was 12 years old. I did the course here that we offer when I was 12. And from there, it really, really helped me discover like what I wanted to do. So I ended up going away to school for fashion in Toronto. And then I interned at two of the top agencies in Toronto. I graduated in 2010, seems so long ago. And I moved back to, at that point, it was my hometown, which was Belleville. I was born and raised in Belleville. And I got an interview at Modelle, and the rest is history. I've been here ever since. So I started working at Modelle in 2010, and I worked alongside Audra Anderson, who was a previous owner and founder, for 11 years before I took over the business in 2019.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. Now I gotta ask you, because we actually so we kind of relate a little bit in the sense of like we both kind of walked into a situation where we had a relationship with the previous owner of the business, now that an organization that we've now taken over, which was
Yes.
my experience as well. So and I know there's a lot of people that they're kind of behind the scenes because maybe they're in the middle of doing the deal, or whatever the case may be, or that relationship is still kind of growing. Like, how did that come about? Like, how did that conversation start of like there's going to be a transition?
I would say it started in about 2018. That was also the point where I was starting a clothing boutique as well. So I really kind of just wanted to get, that up and going before I guess like jumping into this. So it was a longer transition period. I would say it was about like a year. And then, obviously there's a lot of like paperwork and everything that has to be signed. And there's still a lot of things that I needed to learn as well. But it's something that we definitely talked about. I would say for a year. Audra had been in the industry for 30 years. So she was definitely ready to take like a little bit of a step back, but she also has her other business called CMTC, which stands for Canadian Model and Talent Convention. So she really, was able to focus like solely on that as well.
Got you. Understood. Okay. So, and then, so like, I love that, by the way, because it's like, it sounds like there was like a friendship there, like as well, like during that process?
Oh, definitely. I always considered Audra like a second mother. I had known her since I was 12 years old too, right? So definitely a friendship, and obviously we still have like a very close relationship. Modelle is attending CMTC in a few weeks as well, so Modelle and Audra will always kind of be connected for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think of the moment where it all became super real for me. Like we did the paperwork, we went to the
Yeah.
lawyer's office and did all of that. Like, what was that feeling like for you in that moment where you could finally say like this is my baby now?
It was surreal. It's something that obviously I've worked like extremely hard for. This industry is something that I have like a very deep passion for as well. So it was such a nice feeling. It was a really good feeling, and I was very proud, and I was proud to own Modelle, and I'm so proud of like our models and talent that are associated with Modelle. And yeah, it was a very surreal feeling, something I will never forget.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love how those memories, you think about them years later, and it's like, oh man, remember when? And yeah, it's just something really cool to think back on.
Exactly.
Um, yeah. Uh, so how long have you had Model now? You said since 2019.
Yeah, so I took over October 15th, 2019, and that's also when NKC Fashion Incorporated was established as well. So both businesses are registered under the corporation. So October 2019, and then COVID hit March 2020. So obviously things really slowed down, come March, but we're back up and fully running now, which I'm very excited for. But yeah, so October 2019 is when the transition was complete and I fully took over.
So you got to walk me through that one because you take over October 2019, and then we all know what went down in 2020. Like,
Yeah,
and you just walked into this thing, and then like pandemic hits. Like,
yeah.
there must have been so many emotions. Like
Oh,
walk me through what that was like
I
for you.
did at the same time too. So very, very emotional. In the back of my head, I knew I'm like, I cannot give up on this. This is like who I am. This is my career. It's what I was meant to do. And I kept that in the back of my head, and I just kept going. And, obviously having two businesses in COVID, it was really, really tough. But I will say that I have a very strong support system underneath me. My husband was incredible during the full thing as well. So that really, really helped me get through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's so neat. Like, the support system is huge, isn't
It's
it?
huge. It really, really is. And it can come from anywhere, like friends, family, other people that are that have small businesses, and just, the community of Bay of Quinte as well. So without a support system, I don't think I would have gotten through. But yeah, I knew in the back of my head that there's no way I was giving up.
Wow, wow. You know what? And sometimes I think people believe, like, if they ever have thoughts of like, oh, maybe I should throw in the towel, or what if I just did something different, and then they kind of take that as like maybe that's the sign that I should do exactly what's on my mind. Did you ever have those thoughts? And obviously if so, you were able to move past them. But did those thoughts ever come to your mind, and how did you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, I would say they did like a bit, but I would almost just like talk myself out of it. And I would, do something with Modelle or the store that day that just reminded me like, wow, I really truly just like love what I do. And for me, it's really important to me when I'm going to work that I love what I do, and I love coming to work. And I don't know if I would get that anywhere else. So I did have, those thoughts a bit, I'll be honest, but um I would just do something that I loved, that day with Modelle or Casey Closet. And I would just be like, no, this is what I'm meant to do. And I know we're going to get through this. I know it's going to pass. Obviously, I didn't think it was going to take 2 years, but it was just so important to me not to, give up and just really keep going forward as best as I could.
That's huge, Nicole.
Yeah.
That's huge. I feel like there's a huge nugget in there too, because you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said like, you if those thoughts came to your mind, you would then proceed and do something that you love doing specifically in that day when that
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. And
beautiful.
yeah, there was obviously like, a lot of tears through the whole COVID thing, especially when it was first getting started. And we just really had, no clue what was going on. We are, luckily we were able to get some assistance with the help from the government, but still it was so tough. This in the industries that I'm in, both in like retail and the modeling acting industry, they're both such hands-on businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really important that our team, is at the office communicating. We're communicating with our models and talent all the time. So yeah, it was really tough, but I'm so happy that we're on the other side right now, and I can truly say the industry is busier than ever, and it's just going to keep getting busy. So I'm very thankful that I kept going and we didn't give up.
Good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you. One thing that really kind of comes to mind, I just wonder what your perspective is here on this, because, and I've experienced this, like when you're the person where the buck stops,
Yeah.
and there's a lot riding on you, and people are looking at you, like your colleagues, your team, like what is Josh going to do, what is Nicole going to do, like first of all, how do you internalize that, and was there anything that you saw from those situations, like was it something where your team or the people around you that were in the business, um, were they was it did you see support, did you see like people get scared, like did you see confusion? I saw all of it. Like I'm just gonna throw it out, like I saw all of it. Like I
Oh,
saw people confused, I saw people scared, like what's like one person came to me one day and they said, are you gonna do layoffs? And like out of the blue, like
yeah.
out of the blue, I was like, where did this question
You're
come
like, yeah, and it was hard to answer because in a sense you don't really know, and it's obviously the last thing that you want to do. But yeah, you're right. I did see it all too. I felt it all as well. It was a lot of pressure. I will say, I have like such a strong team behind me, and when the employees that work at Modelle, they are so passionate about this industry as well. So it still put a fire under us. Like we still try to keep like our models and talent busy. We had like a workbook for them that they could do during the whole quarantine stuff. Yeah, I saw it all, and I like I said, I really felt it all. I was confused, I was lost, I was sad. I was sad for our models and talent, I was sad for my retail customers, I was sad for like the employees, I was sad for myself. Like it was just such an emotional time to go through, for sure. But I will say we have such a strong team. I have such a strong team behind me, and without their support and without their fire underneath them, we definitely wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, yeah, and I really appreciate you just kind of like acknowledging like that, the realness of those situations, because oh man, when you're in them, like oh man, it's a whole mood.
And it's something that as business owners, I'm sure you can testify this. You never think that you're going to go through something like that ever. So you're really not, that's not in your business plan. You're not prepared to do something like this. So you kind of just have to take it day by day. And I try to keep employees busy as much as I could. I still was able to give everyone some work to do, and obviously I had a lot of work to do for myself as well. So we were able to keep somewhat as busy as we could.
Sweet, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I'm. I'm listening to you, and I'm seeing some nuance that I love in this conversation. I want to talk about values with you, like what's important to you in life. Like, what do you when you think of the question, like, what do you value? Like, what's important to you? Like, what kind of things come to mind for you?
Family is a huge thing for me. Family, friends, having that support system. And I just really try to, just really try to think like positive every day. And I try to think, if something is happening that is, negative or horrible, that there is a meaning behind it. And maybe you don't realize that meaning right there, but maybe it's a month down the road or 6 months down the road that you're like, okay, this is why this is happening. And I really just try to truly look at, the positive in every day. And it's hard. Like, it's something that doesn't happen every day, but and just enjoying life and enjoying what you do, and just really trying your best just to be happy and to be yourself. But I would say one of my top values is family for sure.
Mm, mm. I love that. You talked about happiness, and I'm so like I'm obsessed with this topic of like, like getting to be in a place where you can like work towards like, how do I find more happiness in my life? How do I find more happiness in a day? Like,
Mhm.
what are I don't know, is there anything that you've experienced or can share as far as like what has that journey been like for you? Because it's a huge topic of discussion. Like, how do I get the most out of every day while I'm here?
Yeah.
And then what does that actually look like? Have you explored that at all?
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of, self development, self growth, self care. I lost my mother in 2016, and obviously she was like a best friend to me. So
Mhm.
it's not something that like happened right away. Like, I will say, there's probably like a few years where I didn't really see, the positive in every day, but I just like life can be short. So I really try to remember that. And yeah, it's tough sometimes, but I would say like one thing that I try to do is do try to journal, or even think of, when I'm laying in bed getting ready to go to sleep, like what are three things that that really brought a smile to my face every day. So it could be something like, my son went to bed on time, or it could be something like I met this really great client. So it's not even like I don't always write it down, but I just try to like think of that even before I'm going to bed. I just really try to appreciate like the small things in life, like, the sunshine, a nice view, cute animals, whatever it may be. I just really try to just have a positive outlook in life.
That's amazing. I immediately think of like building habits, like it's like you have to kind of like exercise your brain to like do those things and like go through like and the thing that's like a statement that's really kind of like made a shift and change in my perspective is um like goals will change your plans,
Yes. Yeah.
but habits will change your life. And it knocked me off my feet when I came to that realization, because I'm like, it is the little things we choose to do every single day that make up the whole at the end of the day.
But that's and exactly, and it's not like they have to be big habits, right? It can just be something that's, so small that can completely change your mood in a day. So that's you're right. That's such a big thing, is just creating those small habits that help you throughout the day.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you mentioned family.
Yeah,
That's a big thing that you value. So what does that landscape look like? I hear you have a son,
I
husband.
do. Yeah. I have a sister and brother who I'm very close with. Obviously, like my dad. I have a very small family, like a really small family, but it's something that like I value every day. Especially, I've seen right in front of my eyes that life can be short, and it's just so important. I think that that you're like spreading the love to your family and friends, right? Spending as much time as you can with them while you can. big thing for me is like not holding silly grudges and really trying to like dissolve any kind of like arguments or just like little things that, and when you're looking at the big picture, it really doesn't matter. So, so I have
Wow,
a son. We currently live in the county. My husband was born and raised in the county, and I was born and raised in Belleville. So yeah, we love where we live, and we like spending like a lot of time outdoors and just doing different activities as a family for sure.
that's wonderful. How do they feel about what you're doing?
Well, I am actually, I am going to be able to share some exciting news soon about NKC fashion. But my husband has always been very supportive. Like I don't have a 9 to 5 job. There is years where I was working till like 9 o'clock at night. And obviously now that I have a child, things have changed a bit, but, they're very, very supportive. Obviously it's not something I would be able to do without his support. So I'm really lucky that I'm able to follow my passion and my dream and still have that support. So
That's absolutely beautiful, Nicole. I
yeah,
I, I love
great.
that. Like it's everything.
It really is. It really is. Especially when you're like working long hours, you're just like weird hours, or you're working on weekends. It's so important to have someone that just understands that.
Yeah, and you mentioned that like your schedule has changed like drastically, like moving into like what you're doing now. Like what does Nicole like about her schedule now?
What I like is that I really try to be home for like 5:30 at night. Obviously, when you're like, I start a lot earlier in the morning, but obviously when you're a booking agent, like, I mean, I was sending out emails until 9 p.m. last night, and then first thing this morning when I woke up. But yeah, I do like that I'm home more in the evenings, and I, do have the ability to spend that time with like my husband and my son, and, put my son to bed, all have dinner together. And that's not something I was able to do a few years ago. Like I said, I was typically at
Oh,
the agency until, between 7 and 9 at night. So it's something that I'm really, really enjoying for sure.
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's time is such a huge currency for me. Like yeah, being able to have time to like to do the things that makes your soul sing in a day. And it
yeah.
can change from day to day. So
It's
um
so true. And it's, yeah, you might not even like realize at the time, but it's even if it's like going outside after dinner or, reading like a book all together. It's just those small, small things that, you're looking at the whole picture, and they really are like the most meaningful things, I think. So,
yeah, yeah, that was a huge, I would say that was a huge shift for me. Because there's so much responsibility that comes with being a business owner. And like I started at age 25, and everybody in my company was older than me at the time. We have some younger folks now, but
yeah.
they were all older than me at the time. And it was very easy for me to kind of subconsciously fall into the slot of like, you know um, I defined myself by what I did. And at some point along my journey, I'm not sure when, I flipped it and I said, no, this is who I am. And these are the things that I'm doing as a result of that. And then it completely changed my perspective about the way I work and what I value and what I'm doing in a day, because it made me like see outside of just like the entrepreneurial hat. And I was
Exactly.
like, what's the Joshua hat? And what are some things, like I like music, and I like content, and I like building businesses, and like there's other things I like to do and travel. So I was like, it just changed my whole world. Have you what's your kind of relationship with like identity and how you view yourself as an individual?
So I would say even, I think it was, I would say like 6 or 7 years ago now. Same thing. I've always loved traveling. It's been a huge part of my life. And I really promised myself like I would never lose that. So, I went away for 6 months and I worked on a cruise ship and I traveled the Caribbean. And yeah, it was just kind of, rediscovering myself. And I think, traveling, especially alone, is in your 20s is such a important thing to do. It really kind of just helps you, find your identity and your goals and your dreams. And it kind of just like refreshes you. So traveling is something that I would always try to do once a year, even if it was just for a week. Obviously with COVID that had to stop for a few years, but that's a really big thing for me, is traveling and just trying to like do something I enjoy. Like I will be honest, I don't have too much time now for like hobbies and everything like that. Like I'm really lucky that I do really enjoy, my business. So I do consider that as, a hobby as well. But yeah, I would say, yeah, traveling is a big thing for me, and just spending time, as much time as I can, with friends and family. I do enjoy cooking. I will say my husband's a lot better cook than I am, but when I do actually take the time to do it, it's something that like I really enjoy, and just being outdoors, gardening, everything like that. So it's definitely
Cool.
changed through the years. I will say that, like in my early 20s and, growing up as a teenager, like I loved playing sports. I was really into like playing hockey and all the different sports. But, as life gets busier, it's just something that sometimes you don't always have time to do. So for me, I just really wanted to, find new hobbies and interests that I really like.
Yeah, that's amazing, Nicole. And I love the truth there and what you said. Like it makes me think about like seasons. Like there's, we're maybe like there's different seasons where maybe we're meant to do, one thing in this season, and then another season of life comes and we're meant to do something else. And I think that's what makes the journey like truly enjoyable, because it's like like what I was doing 5 years ago is nothing that I'm doing now. And to know that it could change in another 5 years, like I get excited, because I'm like, there's so much to life, and there's so much, many things that attract me as far as like desire and what I feel like my purpose is. So that's
Exactly.
awesome that you've experienced that, and you're experiencing that.
Yeah, it's always changing. You're always, evolving. There's different hobbies and interests that are going to come with different years. And you're right, it is exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Last question,
Oh yeah.
before we let you go. And honestly, Nicole, it's been an absolute pleasure just to hear you speak and hear your story, and just kind of hear like just the meaningful nuance about like what's important to you, and how you've been doing on this journey. So I really appreciate you
So
sharing that.
appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. What do you see when you think about the future? This is the question I always like to ask people. Like, what do you see like down the road, if anything, for yourself? And maybe you've shared it, maybe you've never shared it with anybody. It's been like in the back of your subconscious for like years. Like, there's anything that like comes to mind when you think about like the future, and like things you want to be doing, or maybe it's to do with your business now, or anything like that?
Yeah, so definitely, the first thing is expanding my family, having, a big family, a few kids. That's really important. Being a mom is something I've always wanted to do, so that's extremely important. Developing a relationship with someone, and I'm excited to share more about this one day soon. But having a business partner down the road, and really just expanding Modelle and Casey Closet and watching them grow. I'm hoping even to get into more different types of merchandise with the store. And then Modelle, obviously, we are really focusing on, working with more models and talent. The models and talent that we have now, we are really focusing on them getting more jobs and different contracts, especially internationally. So just, expanding family, then also really expanding my business as well. And then the third thing, I guess, would definitely be, I have a list of places that I would still love to travel to when I'm able to, for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the last thing we'll end with is, what would you say to somebody who's on their own journey, and they're trying to build something for themselves, for their family, and there's a lot of things that come up as in life, obstacles, things we got to get through. What would you say to somebody who's like literally in that process, and maybe they just need to pick me up, maybe they just need to hear some words of encouragement? What would you say to somebody like that?
Yeah, so I mean, I can say that it's not easy, right? That's the first thing I want to say. I'm very honest. It's not easy, but I can totally say that it is completely worth it, especially when you are able to create your own schedule. And then two, you are also doing something that you love and you're passionate about. There's so many people that go to work and they don't love what they're doing and they're not passionate about it. So you have this opportunity to do something that you love, and you're going to work every day, and you're loving what you do. And I'm not saying that you're going to love like every aspect of your job or your business, but it's so important that you really just keep going forward, and find that that drive and that fire underneath you, and just to continuously go forward. It's not easy, but it's totally worth it for sure. Yeah, and
Beautiful.
and just it's so important. Just everyone has hard days, not just with business, but in every aspect of life, and just not to give up, and to try to just like I said, find the positive and in every day for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Nicole, thank you so much for joining
no
the show
problem.
today. It's been a treat.
Yes, well, thank you for having me, and yeah, we will keep in touch.
Absolutely. I wish you the very, very best in business and in life. And we will see you on the flip side.
All
Blessings
right,
to
thanks,
you.
Josh. We'll see you later. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye bye.